there's some misconception that the Sony cuts are making about it's just like the recent other Spider-Man projects along with this game, where people say that the shit was loved at first and then all of a sudden people switched up, now everybody hates it. That's not what happened. What really happened was that the fanboys would bombard everybody from being able to speak their opinion about it, until eventually they couldn't keep lying about the game or the movie being good. So eventually they couldn't keep up with it, and then that's when all the hate poured in. Like, as soon as you try to criticize or anything, they're going to immediately get on your case and defend, and eventually they will get tired of defending something that's not good, and it comes to a point where everybody who never liked it, that's when they're going to start talking, because the fanboys know they can't defend it anymore. It's just like with this game. It's just like that No Way Home trilogy. Like, bro, we already seen this, especially specifically Far From Home. And you know I see, when I made that review about the game, there were some comments saying, "Oh, you're just trying to be like everybody else, all this nonsense." Well, first off, I'm not trying to be like nobody. Secondly, I tried to beat the game as fast as I could. I was doing all the side quests and shit. I tried to beat it as quickly as possible so that I could get my point across before anybody else could, besides the people who get early copies. I wanted to get my point off. And you know, I reviewed the game. Obviously, people came to hate. That always happens. And and next thing that came after that, I another thing I spoke on was that you know I was talking about how the game was good at first, which you see in that top section where it says the hype is real. It's good at first, and then after that, as time goes on, that's the case with the game. At first, it's good. Then as time goes on, you start to realize how much more broken the game is. And when you finish playing it, eventually you this is when you come to realize the game was rushed. It was rushed. Why is there no in-game content compared to the first game? It was rushed, bro. And then the fanboys, they even tried to defend that. Like, they will defend anything they can, no matter what. And it's ridiculous to me. Like, you cannot defend a broken ass game that they sold full price for. Like, it's ridiculous. And then another problem I have is that they tried to, actually, I already made videos about this, but let me I'm just gonna, long story short, they they tried to give both Peter and Miles a spotlight, and it just didn't work out. They wanted to force a Venom, and there were no Eddie Brock. And my thing about that is that, like, you had MJ at the Daily Bugle competing and all this shit, and you could have had her competing against Eddie Brock. You had the fucking setup and you didn't use it. Instead, you went with that shitty Harry story. Oh my gosh. See, my thing is that, like, so the Spider-Verse movies affected everything surrounding Miles Morales as a character as a whole. But, like, my biggest issue is that they never brought New Goblin back from Spider-Man 3. Like, that's what they should have did with Harry. New Goblin went hard. I don't care what nobody say. But anyways, Venom sucked. His best moment was his introduction. That was it. Aside from that, like nothing really makes sense in this game. The story is just really fucking bad. And then, it's sometime after the fact, the fanboys, they want to argue, but like, what was so bad about the story? I'm like, bitch, I'm not finna play through this whole fucking game to give you a fucking PowerPoint of everything that's bad about it. Just take my fucking word for it. The story sucked. The gameplay was a downgrade. That's how it is. And based on all these other shit, like this second session, where it says my game of the year, I never said that. I for sure never said that shit. The game sucked to me from the jump. And to be honest with you, like really it should go along with that first session, that day one session. But anyways, I never said that shit was my game of the year. I think that Ultimate Spider-Man game back in the day is better than this shit. But anyways, the third one where it says that it lost in the Game Awards, rightfully so. Like the game was broken, bro. It did not deserve shit, especially Game of the Year. Granted, I didn't play that game that won Game of the Year. I can't remember the name of it, but oh, I think it's Baldur's Gate. I can't remember. But anyways, I didn't play that game, but I knew for damn sure that Spider-Man 2 did not deserve Game of the Year. Like, it's at the point where it's just mostly just eye candy with broken shit in it. It's the fact that one of the reasons, a lot of reasons why the game is overrated is because A, it's a Spider-Man game, and B, it's also a heavily fan service dedicated game. Like they figured by throwing Venom in there, it was going to sell everything. But the problem with this is that like at one point, Venom used to be the kind of character. His introduction and everything was always lit because we didn't get enough of him. But now we're getting too much of him to a point where like, oh, it's Venom again. Like it used to be so much better, but now it's just I'm expecting to see Venom. Like that's how it is. And like Sony doesn't care, bro. It's very obvious that they don't care. And I'm just saying this is nothing new. The game was never good. It was only good when you first start playing it because, different engine, different system, all this shit. And then eventually the game just couldn't hold up. Like, another thing about it is that I kept comparing it a lot with the first game. And, I'm just sitting here, I'm fighting these enemies, these hunters and all this shit. And I'm just saying, like, this combat is just so uninspiring. Like, I missed the fucking web impact, all that shit. I missed the gadgets. The gadgets made the shit a lot funner and it went by quicker. But to take that shit out and give me some weak ass gadgets, it just slowed combat down to me. I'm sorry. It just came to a point where I honestly forgot that I even had gadgets. The only gadget I would use is that one that sucks everybody in, that welds everybody and brings them together. But other than that, like I would forget that I even had gadgets. That's how much I didn't care about it. Like it's that bad, bro. But anyways, the game was never good. It was never good. If anybody says it's good, either they're actually, it's subjective. So I'm not even gonna take it there. But just take how I feel about the game. It sucks.